Podcast. My name is Allison Mancini. I am your holistic nutritionist.
And I'm Juliana, the magical PT. Welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to become the goddesses they are meant to be.
That's right.
So, Allison, you had an interesting travel week last week.
I did.
It kind of pushed your buttons a little bit, huh?
It did. And so, what was interesting about it actually was halfway through my trip. I'm going to start and then I'm going to digress and go backwards. So halfway through my trip, I was scrolling on Facebook and a friend of mine posted on social media. It was a meme and it said, when the universe gives you challenges, it's really your chance to show that you are what you say you are, that you practice what you preach, right? So I read that and was like, oh, man. It's so true. So we took our daughter back to Texas to get her resettled in for her senior year of college. She had asked us to go with her, and it happened to be my husband's birthday over that time period. And so we had plans to fly out really early on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. And at 1 a.m., my phone goes off, wakes me up, and it's a notification that our flight has been completely canceled 6 hours before our flight. So she's freaking out because she has to be to work the next day. It's my husband's birthday the next day. We had all these plans because we have family there. And so I'm waiting patiently because when you try to call any of the airlines right now, you wait for, hours. So finally I get another notification that comes across and basically says, we've rebooked you on the same flights on Monday. So we're like, all right, well, it is what it is. We'll go with Monday. So we get to the airport. And we get delayed another 2 hours sitting on the plane at the gate. And by this time, now I'm starting to get aggravated. We were supposed to be there yesterday. Now we're stuck here still. And it keeps just kind of going spiraling. So all is well. We get there. It's crazy. We've now had to condense our 3-day trip into 2. We paid for one night of a hotel that we couldn't get a refund for, so just all those little things. The day we're supposed to leave on Wednesday, we get a notification about 6 hours before that our flight's been canceled to go home. We're like, what? And of course it rebooks us again the next day. And I think it was that day that I saw the meme and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, am I practicing what I always say? I always say, if you're stressed out, you need to stop and take a breath. Maybe you need to meditate. Are you shrugging your shoulders? What's my mindset like? What am I putting out there? Is any of this me putting something out there, right? That I maybe am not aware that I'm putting out there in a negative way. And it really made me sit back and think about it. And not only that, I tell people all the time, is it really that big of a deal? Right? Is this situation really that big of a deal? And it made me sit there and say to myself, Allison, is this really that big of a deal? And to be honest with you, it really wasn't. The dog sitter could stay another day. We couldn't find a hotel for that night, but it was fine. We stayed at my daughter's townhouse with her roommate. We made do, you know what I mean? So was it really that big of a deal? Not really. So it was just really eye-opening that, we all get thrown stressful situations. And how do we show up? How do we handle them? And that's kind of what you and I talk a lot about. So,
yeah. So my question for you is do you feel like, yes, you had your aggravation and everything, but do you feel like you handled it differently than you maybe would have handled that situation in the past?
Oh, for sure. No doubt about it. And you can even ask my kids. I actually, when it happened on Sunday, I was aggravated because it was 1:00 in the morning and I woke me up. But when it happened that Wednesday, I just kind of went into this whole action of, okay, call the dog sitter, make sure he can stay. Where are we going to stay tonight? I just kind of went into this mode. Whereas a couple of years ago, I would have been pissed off. I would have been mad at everybody around me. So yeah, for sure. But I'm glad you bring that up because it's practice. I've practiced a lot to handle those situations differently. It didn't just I didn't naturally handle it better than I normally would have. I've practiced it over the years. So yeah, it was interesting because we all get those challenges.
Exactly. And, I think it's something where we get to acknowledge ourselves for recognizing our growth and the improvements that we've made. And I've been having a lot of like self-awarenesses in myself, like situations that have come up. It's like, wow, I handled that so much better than I would have 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Right.
So we all just keep growing and getting better and better. So pat yourself on the back.
I mean, listen, there's always more room for growth. Like, I mean,
for sure.
because I was getting, on the plane that Monday morning, I was starting to get aggravated. But when I look back at it, what was interesting is I was sitting, but because we got rebooked, now none of us are sitting by each other, right? So I was sitting on an exit row between two gentlemen, and the one guy to my left was really getting mad. Like, you could feel the energy coming off of him of how aggravated he was getting that we hadn't taken off. And he had been on the same flight as we were on Sunday. Like, so he had been rebooked also. And I could just feel that energy coming off of him. And I literally had to kind of do this and lean onto the one ear. So I couldn't hear because he kept talking to the flight attendant and just kept reading my book, because I knew if I let that I would get as upset as he was. Right. Yeah. So it was challenging still, in that scenario, but yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to be able to take a step back and look at it a little bit clearer than I could have a few years ago. So that was cool.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
All right. Let's bring our guest on. Yes, I'm super excited. Little secret here. The guest that's coming on right now, she's my cousin.
I love it. We're going to have a cousin day. I need to get my cousin on here too.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
We ready to add her? There she is.
Here I am.
Hey, Dana, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. But please, other than being my cousin, can you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, what else is there besides being your cousin?
That's awesome.
Well, okay, so my name is Dana Zwaska. I live in Wisconsin, and I am a freelance proofreader and editor. What do I proofread? Anything, but mostly novels, short stories, and stuff. But the thing that makes me a little different from other people, I hope, is that my blog focuses on new writers. And
I did not know that. That's very cool.
I mean, sure, maybe other people do too, but not, they don't, they're more interested in being able to pay the bills, and me, I'm like, okay, if you don't have the money right now, don't worry, take your time. It's not a big rush, but I really want to help these new writers. And guess what our biggest problem is? Oh my gosh, am I good enough? What do I think of? Who do I think I am trying to be a writer? There are people who have been trying to write since they were 5 years old, and they went to school and they've got an MFA, and now I come along in midlife, and I think I could be a writer. I can't do that, so
it's all mindset.
It really is. But
I love that. I love that you're helping new writers, and also getting people out of their get out of your head and just stop worrying about it and just do it. Allison and I went through that a little bit in the beginning of creating this podcast. Like, who are we to be podcasters? And I'm so glad we just pushed through and did it, because the feedback that we're getting from this, I say, even if it helped one person, it was worth it. Yeah. And we know that we've helped tons of people. So
definitely. Yeah. Some people say, but I can't write a decent sentence, and I'm no good at grammar, and I don't know punctuation very well, and commas are a nightmare. And I say,
isn't that what the editor's for?
Yeah, I said, that's all right. Just do your best, and then I'll come along and we will help you. And the biggest problem is we think we should give up, because there have been umpteen 100,000 people publishing on Amazon, and traditional publishers only accept about 1 out of every 100 applicants, and they say, oh, why am I trying? I have to be really, really good. I have to make this the best book ever. And it's got to be something that nobody's ever thought of before. Well, yeah, you know how that goes. Nothing is unique. and
Completely.
And it's okay, because nobody can be unique in a world with almost 8 billion people in it. And all you can do, the only thing you have to offer the world is that nobody is exactly you.
Exactly. And that's what we talk about with this show too, is that everybody is going to, you might be saying the same thing that somebody else already said, but you're going to say it in just a slightly different way that's going to resonate with someone who couldn't get that message before, because the way other people said it, it didn't resonate with them. And
Yeah.
so everybody has a slight uniqueness to their voice that's going to touch somebody. So get it out there.
That's right. Yep.
Nice.
And most of us, I think, are women, because there's just, let's face it, we women are taking over the world. But interestingly enough, though, most of my favorite writers are men. So don't worry, men, you're not getting crowded out.
But it is a great opportunity to, our theme is empower, inspire, and uplift women. So
yeah,
let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the clock is ticking. We need to dive into our questions here. So Dana, what is your superpower?
My superpower is probably accepting that I don't have a superpower. I mean, let's face it, I'm just a good old regular normal Earth person, and meanwhile my best friend is a level 3 master Reiki, and and I can't feel anything when I try Reiki. I'm level 2. I gave up. I can't feel anything. I can't see ghosts. I don't feel the power of crystals. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm just a regular old Earth creature.
But so, like, your superpower might be being grounded,
yeah.
you know?
You learn to accept that and realize that isn't so bad. I am what people are meant to be. Always searching, always trying to get, happier and look for this and look for that. And I can have people like you help me. So sometimes we have to accept that we try to help, and we're better off not trying to help, because that's not our forte. We're better off, maybe we can help in other ways. Just, like, I should have been a proofreader all along. That was my thing.
So your superpower is proofreading.
I suppose. But the thing is, everybody's trying to find their place, I gotta be something special. I've gotta have something profound to say. And I look on the internet and everybody's got these wonderful, profound things to say. And I am not Gandhi, so I have nothing profound. And so I want to help everybody out there who feels so darned normal and ordinary that it's okay. It's okay to be ordinary and normal. We're getting to be a minority. We're a rarity.
One of the feedbacks that I got about the show from someone recently was, they said, my favorite episode was this one where the woman that spoke was just, she was normal. Yeah. And she wasn't trying to put out there like how great she was, how amazing. It was like, that episode just really resonated with me and felt so good. And, we talk about this even on social media. Everybody's trying to like put their best image forward, and just, we all have normalness in our lives, and, we're human. Yeah. And the more that we can, which is why in the beginning of the show, we were talking about like the issues that Allison was going through. Yeah. Just because you're trying to live your best life doesn't mean you're not going through all the normal shit that's out there in the world. And so, yeah, we just plug through it.
Yeah, we have to learn. We have to embrace being normal. Let's embrace being normal together.
So I'm super curious, since you're an editor, what the answer to your next question is going to be. But what is your favorite book or the book that has most influenced your life?
Well, as a proofreader, I could say, oh, my favorite book I've ever read is anything I've proofed, because it gives me such a broad scope of, all my clients and their points of view and everything. But if I had to name one book, it would be Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And
Nice.
I don't know if you've ever gotten to read it, or actually, I took it one step further and I listened to her audiobook, because it is Elizabeth Gilbert doing the audio for her own book.
I love when on audiobook it's the author reading it.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's wonderful. It goes right along with my blog, actually, because I'm telling everybody, we don't care if you're not the greatest or if you think you're not good enough. Do it write, dance, sing, whatever it is that your heart's desire is. Go ahead and give the world specifically, uniquely, what you are. And she made a great book out of it. And you have to listen to it or read it more than once, because it's just so uplifting and encouraging.
I like it. I have not read it, so
you love it.
I will definitely check it out. But I always think about, even growing up, I think our family in general, like books were always a part of our life, at least as girls, like not my brother for sure. But as girl cousins, like we were definitely always reading. And my mom, like you never saw my mom without a book in her hand. And so just I think books are such a gift for us, whether we're using them for to entertain ourselves with fiction, or learning and growing with self-help, personal development. There's so much out there that books have to give us. And being in the biz, I think you're in an amazing business, and because books change the world. One of our other previous guests, she said a quote, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but like every book has something for me to learn from, to go from, no matter what that book is. So yeah, super cool. All right, on from books to self-care, because it's been an issue that people work too hard, do too much, and they forget to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite self-care practice?
I took notes for myself.
How
am I going to answer these questions? What do I do to take care of myself? But I thought, and I realized that every day I subconsciously or consciously take time to be grateful for everything I've had. And I kind of do it in excess. It's like, okay, maybe that bad thing happened, but at least it wasn't this, which really helps me a lot. So I just think I've got a beautiful place to live. I got a great husband. I've got an adorable dog. I have the freedom to pursue my dreams. Yeah, I'm one of the most lucky people in the world. So, and we have to look at that, every day. How are
Absolutely
considered one of the luckiest people in the world? And it won't take you long to figure that out. So
yeah, watch the news for 2 minutes and you realize how lucky, how blessed each of us are. Right. And gratitude is, and there's now so much research supporting how much practicing gratitude improves your health, improves your sense of well-being. And
I mean, my self-care involves just reflection. It's what I'm thankful for, forgiving myself for my past mistakes, and just realizing that thinking about where I want to go, am I really doing what I want to do? And it's just self-reflection is very important. I mean, we're all so busy. It's just, so I try to stay not busy.
Well, and I feel like society as a whole, like the pandemic has given us all the opportunity to slow down a little bit and reflect a little bit more. And, yes, there's been a lot of bad stuff with the pandemic, but we also get to recognize the good stuff that's come out of it as well, and be grateful for those things.
Yeah, and the I got dog fur on me. Reese, you got me all furred up. She's furring me up some more. So when the pandemic hit, just before the pandemic really hit, I had lost my job. It was the most horrible job I've ever had in my life. I was a personal assistant for a very wealthy man who was a quadriplegic. And I did everything. I did home health aid work. I cooked for him. I drove him around in his limousine. Yes, he had a limousine of his own, and his Ferrari and the BMW. And I did shopping for them, all sorts of stuff, and house cleaning. Horrible job. Very stressful. I lost my job. I'm going, yes! And then I took like a week to just feel relief. And then after that, what am I going to do now? What do I want? I have the ability to do whatever I want. How can I use this? So I was lucky because my husband has a good job and we could afford it. So yeah, that was just a fantastic. I feel bad that it was a fantastic gift for me because so many other people got sick and died and lost their jobs and their homes, their businesses. But if I can get something good out of it, why not? I suppose. What am I going to do? Not take the gift of having the opportunity to do whatever I want to do. So I took another week to think about what I'm going to do and explore. And I don't know how I arrived at it. I said, of course. What an idiot I've been. I should have been a proofreader. I've been correcting grammar on science and stuff since I was in grade school. Why didn't I do this from the beginning? I mean, at work, I'd see a sign that management put up. I'd take out my pen. It's apostrophe S. And there was a joke at my high school where if the cheerleaders put up something for the next pep rally, I'd be right along up there with our English teacher on a ladder, correcting it grammatically. Okay.
That's your superpower.
That's my superpower. Making sure people who have something to say don't have to worry about the nitpicky junk. I'll do it for them.
Nice. So to accomplish things and get things done, we have to be accountable. And so our fourth question is, how do you create accountability in your life?
Now, that's a really weird question. This is not terms most regular people think. I mean, is that even English?
So
how do I word this answer? It's so I thought about it and I realized that my accountability in my life for myself entails more of the same of more of what I just said, was asking myself constantly, is this really what I want? Whatever it is, whatever you wish for isn't really always what you want. We think we want it, but when we get it, I mean, we can wish to be, let's say, a pop star. Oh, wahoo, yay, get to sing and play the instruments and travel around. And that's in our heads. But would we really want that? It's sing the same songs over and over and over again, performing at night when, well, let's face it, most of us would want to be in bed. Traveling around to city after city, living in hotels. I mean, it's stuff like that. You have to, are you sure this is what you really want? Maybe what you want, what I want, is what I already have. And I look around, I say, well, hey, great husband, beautiful house, $1 million view, cute dog. isn't this what most people strive for? And that's why they want to get rich and famous so they can have this? Hey, I've already got it. So you got to be accountable with your own wishes and your dreams and your goals, I guess.
Yeah, I think that is super important to, like, if you're really going for what you really want, the motivation to do what you need to do to get there is just innate. Sometimes we're fooling ourselves and thinking, yeah, that we want this thing. But if you really check in, like, I haven't moved in the direction to get that because I don't actually really want it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is, I think, important to connect to, is this really what I want?
Mm-hmm.
And also connecting to the, why do I want it?
Yeah. Why?
Because sometimes we think we want something, and then when we ask ourselves why do you want that? And then you realize, like, oh, yeah, that isn't really what I wanted in the first place.
Do I want to become, say, rich and famous so that I can impress millions of people that I've never met and will probably just ridicule me and find something to criticize? or do I want to do this because I want to do it for myself? Or maybe even for my family or something like that. So yeah, we got to really step back and look at ourselves, be true to ourselves, be authentic, and all that other lingo that it's kind of new to me.
Well, and you just said there, a lot of times these things they're just lingo and stuff that people just drop all the time, and making sure we are really authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because mindfulness came along. I'm like, mindfulness? What in the heck does that mean? And it took a long time for me to wrap my head around what is this mindfulness business? And I finally got it, and I thought, being mindful of like what I'm doing that I ordinarily don't like. It was one of the books that I proofread, actually. And she explained mindfulness. She goes, next time you're doing a task you don't like that you have to do, like, let's say doing the dishes, think about the nice things about doing the dishes, how the nice warm water feels or whatever. Concentrate on the task you're doing. And that's a good idea. Unless you're trying to write a book. Because then those are the times you want to come up with the ideas and write a book, for example. So just because mindfulness is a great thing doesn't mean it's for absolutely everybody.
Everybody, every situation. Yeah, completely. All right. It is time for our takeaways.
Oh, yeah.
So my takeaway is, thank you for giving me another book to read. But also, like, super important, what I love is that magic is in the title. And so magic is the word that floats in my life. People, when they describe my therapy practice, like, what is it that Julietta does? The most commonly used word that people use is magic. And so my marketing people have branded me the Magical PT. And so I love that the title of the book has magic in it. So it's like, it's meant to be. I got to read it. So yeah. I will be ordering it today.
I didn't even think of that until just before we went on here. It's like, hey, oh yeah, magic.
Yes, perfect. I love it. What is your takeaway for today, Dana?
Well, that's another difficult one for most people. But I think my takeaway is, while it's all very important for us to look at ourselves carefully and make sure that we're paying attention to what we want and what we need, we got to keep better track of our cousins. Because I didn't know I did not know you worked at the hospital, and I did not know you went bike riding.
But that almost seems like another lifetime ago to me, because like I moved down to Florida in 1994. So it's been a long time. And I do have such fond memories of living in Madison, Wisconsin, and those were really good times. And sometimes I'm like, oh, why did I leave Wisconsin? It's so beautiful there. But then I also look at like all of the gifts that have been brought to my life being here. And, had I not moved to Florida, I would not have met Allison, and this podcast wouldn't exist. So
That's
true.
true.
So it's all good.
It's all good.
But
when the building collapsed, for example, I thought to myself, I don't know where Julietta lives. I know she at least at one time lived in Dade County, but I don't know where she is now. And we really hope that wasn't her building, but if it was, I'm sure I would have heard about it by now.
yeah, no, that's quite a ways away from where I am, so I'll save here. So
yeah, pay attention to yourself, but don't forget to pay more attention to your family, because in the end, they might be all you've got.
So, well, I am super glad that you joined us today, Dana, and that we were able to reconnect. And it's every episode is just like something unique. What we were talking about earlier in the show. So, right. Thank you again for joining us. And I have to say thank you to all of our listeners out there. And if you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe. Follow us, share us with your friends, and yeah, that's it. It's a wrap. So thank you again, Dana. And if you're going to be a writer and you need an editor, we'll have Dana's contact information in the show notes. So have a magical day, everyone. Bye.